it's really not hard to understand why Hitman Holla lost this battle, bro. And it's really not hard to understand why Murda Mook seemed like he was kind of coasting through this battle. It's not that difficult, okay? The reason why Hitman Holla lost this battle is because he was trying to convince you of something while Murda Mook was simply embodying what that something is. I'll say it again. Hitman Holla was trying to convince you of something while Murda Mook was embodying what that thing is. Now, let me explain, okay? If you look at the first rounds of this battle, which really set the tone for the entire battle, right? Hitman Holla's entire first round, essentially, is centered around the fact that he's trying to convince the audience that his career and his contributions to battle rap are more valuable than Murda Mook's contributions to battle rap, right? Murda Mook, however, is rapping from the perspective of somebody who already knows this. He's not convincing the crowd of anything. The only thing Murda Mook is trying to convince the crowd is that he raps better than Hitman Holla. That was literally the separation. That was literally the separation. Okay? Out the gate, right? We got to understand this. The battle starts before the battle starts, meaning the battle starts before you get in the ring. The best battle rappers, the veterans, they understand this. This is why you get them repeating the same thing over and over again before a battle takes place, blah, 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 blah. Because they understand the battle is about the optics going into it. You want to control the optics, the narrative of the battle before you go into the battle. You see what I'm saying? What Hitman Holla was trying to do was say that I make more money than Mook. I have done more for battle rap than Mook. So why is it that y'all treat him like this and treat me like this? What Hitman doesn't understand is that exact notion is actually telling the fans that Mook is greater than you and his contributions are greater than yours. That's the one thing I didn't understand about Hitman's approach. It's like, does Hitman understand that not everybody thinks Mook is greater than you? There are a bunch of people who think you're greater than Mook. There are actually a bunch of people who think Hitman Holla is the greatest of all time. But Hitman Holla is only paying attention to the people who don't think he's the greatest, which is why he basically handicaps himself going into this battle and is saying, essentially in his first round, I've done this, and that. My class has done this, and that. So why is it that he gets this praise? Not understanding that if this isn't Mook's exact approach as well, he can be in for a long night. And that's exactly what happened. Mook ends up responding in a way where he's talking to Hitman like he is greater than him. Not like he needs to convince anybody that he's greater than him. Lines like, I birthed you. I could give you a picture of your placenta. So don't get in front of your mentor and get dementia. I birthed you. I can show you a picture of your placenta. That is Murda Mook playing into the narrative that he is greater, that he is the greatest, that he is the logo. That's Murda Mook's superpower, right? What Hitman did was give up his superpower by playing into Mook's character. That's where he messed up. As Hitman Holla, who has done everything that you've done for battle rap, why are you playing at a disadvantage intentionally? Why are you minimizing yourself in order to create a narrative when you're Hitman Holla? Right? And then when you look at the battle itself or even the face-off itself, when we even go away from the fact that Hitman Holla kept playing into this little bro versus big bro conversation, not only is the optics and the bars and the narratives and the approach playing into that, but the very fact that Murda Mook is giving him this, I'm unfazed, nothing you say can bother me, giving him that type of energy, it's solidifying it even more. So every time that Hitman overreacts, over-explains, overdoes stuff, he's giving Murda Mook more power. He's giving Murda Mook more staying power within the battle. Now, the thing about Murda Mook is he's highly intelligent. Very, 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 very intelligent dude. So he's aware of this, which is why he writes to it. He writes to the narrative that's being painted, right? He knows that Hitman Holla does not have the capability to, or not, I don't want to say capability because that sounds disrespectful, right? But Hitman Holla does not understand his own greatness in retrospect to Murda Mook, because if he did, he wouldn't try so hard to convince the people watching. He would just embody that, right? That's the difference. When people are watching Hitman go up there, and even though his round is fire, it doesn't feel like it's changing the tides or very effective. It's not throwing anything off, right? And that's usually what happens. When you got two titans, two dudes who like to talk, it's all about whose narrative is going to be painted better and whose narrative is going to land better. Murda Mook's narrative was being painted way before the battle started. Because like he said in the face-off, my silence is more important than anything you can ever say. These things are strategically planted in the face-off, strategically planted in his rounds, because he knows the audience subconsciously already thinks this, even if they do think Hitman's the greatest, because Murda Mook is marketed as the logo. So when you battle the logo, you don't acknowledge that he's the logo, and you don't compare the fact that you deserve to be the logo when he doesn't, because that's justifying the fact that he's the logo. What Hitman was supposed to do in this battle, pause, was strip himself down to his original material. The same energy and feeling he got when he first came into battle rap, which I'm not saying he doesn't, because he's the one thing I respect about Hitman, he's the ultimate competitor. It don't matter. He's going to show up 100% and give his all no matter how much money he make. That's why I got the ultimate respect for Hitman, because he's the ultimate competitor. The problem is he wasn't situationally aware. Hitman Holla was supposed to pull up, just like he did with Surf, with the tank top and the chains and take people back to a time. You know why? Because Murda Mook just being Murda Mook takes people back to that time. You can't try to beat him because the people that are coming to watch were probably most likely watching that era too. So what you have to do is go back there with Mook. It has to feel like early Hitman versus Mook. That's what it has to feel like. Because Hitman didn't take that approach and he focused on the money, he focused on the cars, he focused on the accolade, etc. It allowed Mook to just be a stripped down version of himself and just coast through the battle. All he had to do was just rap very good and break him down very good. That's all he had to do. Hitman continuing to play into the lil bro conversation while Mook is the big bro is allowing the crowd to witness it this way, which is giving Mook's big bro bars more amplification. And that's why I feel like Hitman probably wasn't thinking clearly going into this battle, because he was too emotionally invested. Now, I'm not going to be the person to say, oh, you're too emotional. Ain't nothing wrong with having emotions as a man. Sometimes as a man, I'm not one of those guys. But what I am saying is you can be so emotionally invested in the outcome and the stakes of a battle that you forget your strategy and your own strengths. You're more focused on proving people wrong than using your superpower. And I'm not saying Hitman wasn't performing. I'm just saying that didn't look like a Hitman who was fully confident in his ability, in his material, in his all of that. We talking about a dude who got some of the best defense in the history of the sport. And he was talking through Mook's round the whole night. You can't deny what I'm saying if you watch this battle. And you watch Hitman's previous battles. You feel what I'm saying? You can't deny what I'm saying, okay? Now, there was a line that Murda Mook said that I wrote down. It was the only line I wrote down, because we don't got to do the bars and all that. I'll leave that for other breakdowns. But this bar summed up the entire battle. You gonna bring up things or better things that you got that's materialistic, and they gonna tell you I rapped better once our material listed. then notice that it's one of the biggest reactions that Mook got the whole battle. That proves everything I'm saying. The reason why it got that reaction was because Hitman allowed Mook to control the narrative of the battle, and now he was playing into Mook's narrative rather than playing into his own. Now, does that mean Hitman wasn't rapping? No, because Hitman was rapping, and he was rapping pretty damn good, especially in that first round, okay? But even when we talk about his first bar, where he's disrespecting Murda Mook's mother, I instantly knew, like, he was trying to recreate the moment that he had with Kayshawn, and I knew that was going to be his Achilles heel because Mook has already shown you, right, after getting sober and all that, whether Mook is putting on a persona or not. This version of Murda Mook, the audience is buying into it. His believability in this version is high, by the way. Believability has nothing to do with just street shit. It don't got to be just street shit. That's why I hate the way people talk about battle rap. Believability is how much we believe what you're saying. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Do we believe what you're saying? Yes or no? Do we believe in what you're delivering? Yes or no? Murda Mook doing what he did in that face-off upped the believability in whatever he was going to deliver on this night. Him staying calm when Hitman Holla brought up his deceased mother, even though in the past he hit Briz for doing the same thing, it validated everything Mook's been saying about him changing his life recently. And because of that, bars with life lesson bars, wisdom bars, bars that got true reflective impact on your, those bars are gonna hit much harder because now we believe you even more. What Hitman was hoping was he can make Murda Mook look soft. The problem is Murda Mook had already denounced all of this energy in the face-off. If they was going back and forth with high energy, then yes, that's a great way to open the round. But that's only good for the immediate reaction, not the overstanding or the lasting impact of the material. There is a difference. There's a difference. Okay? Now we just get into round for round, right? Hitman Holla's first round, very good. Okay? I do think that it was a solid approach. I just think that he was kind of tone deaf in where he took the approach. And because of this, even though the round was good, it wasn't effective. Effective meaning it didn't make anybody look at Mook in a different way. Okay? If anything, it amplified what Mook was about to say. Mook then immediately getting into the let's set the table so I could set it straight. Something. I'm the A side, you the B side. Let's put that on a record. Like him setting that up and get it, that Hitman Holla unknowingly set that up for Mook. Then Mook getting into the placenta bar, boom, boom. This set the stage for, yeah, it's going to be a long night. That's what a lot of people knew already. But you know why? Because the perception around the battle had already been crafted. On top of the fact that Murda Mook wanted it to be specifically about rapping, which is what battles should always be about. And because of this, him coming out the gate and displaying multiple skill sets, immediately getting in and out of pockets, doing unorthodox, it already set the table for, oh yeah, nah. He about to talk too, but he gonna be rapping at a whole different level in order to do it. You see what I'm saying? Now, another thing that told me that Hitman Holla was too emotionally invested in proving everybody wrong, including Hitman, was that he gave what potentially could have been one of the moments of the year, right, away in the face-off. So by the time, even if you go watch the video back, even if you go back to the end of his first round when he brings up the bar about Avo, turn on all the lights, right? He don't even sound confident when he's bringing that up. That's because he gave the bar away in the face-off, and he knew that. That tells you that he was too emotionally invested in trying to prove everybody wrong or trying to prove Mook wrong, instead of just doing what he was going to do initially. He played directly into Mook's game. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact, and call me crazy, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he low-key sees Mook as one of those. There's admiration for there in Mook in the dislike. Like that's just what the material and what he was doing tells me. Okay? Mook's Hitman had a very good first round. Mook had an excellent first round. Like the breaking down of his style, doing the remix thing, all this different stuff before Hitman got to it. It was genius. He stripped Hitman of all his superpowers and then used them against him. Like that, like it's just he psychologically beat Hitman before the battle even started. Before the battle even started, Hitman was psychologically defeated already. Right? And we know this by the time we get to the third round, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay. Then we get to the second round. Okay. Because Murda Mook has set the perception, and now his perception is being held stronger than Hitman's. Hitman's best response is to rap the best he's rapped in the second round. He did not do that, in my personal opinion, which is why I think a lot of people got the second round falling flat. Does that mean the material was bad? I mean, the material was kind of like, it was a lot of like, I don't know why you said that, Hitman type of bars. I think he rapped way better in the first round. But notice, I know I'm correct, because Murda Mook's instant response is to open up with a damn Big Bang Theory scheme where he's talking about he's the origin of battle rap through the scheme of the planets and shit. Like, it reminded me of Daylight Second for Rock. Like, that's how you know this was all calculated by Murda Mook. It was the perfect response to Hitman's seconds, which Hitman's seconds are usually the low point in his rounds, typically. You feel what I'm saying? For him to then come out and rap at that level, it just shows that this was a calculated approach. You feel what I'm saying? He continues the narrative by taking the second round, and just simply rapping better than Hitman Holla. You feel what I'm saying? Now, by this point, he's already up 2-0. The battle is over, okay? Hitman then tries to basically ruin Mook's career, right, with the allegation thing that he did. Now, this is how I feel about it. This is battle rap, all right? People are going to go to whatever level they need to go to win the battle, but this is battle rap. I don't think the fans of battle rap are going to be like, unless you quite literally put the proof in their hands. You know how I know? The Big K versus Audie Boom battle, right? Big K could have stood up there with the paperwork and kept it to itself, right? And it wouldn't have had the same lasting impact. You know why? Because people didn't see it. Him taking the paperwork and passing it out in the crowd, I guarantee you 60% of the people in the crowd was looking at this shit, didn't even know what they was looking at. But because they had something physical in their hands, it felt real. And then you find out it was real. Audie Boom is then banished from the culture, right? That's a Big K. That's how you do that. Hitman Holla posted a screenshot that was cropped. You don't know what the source is. You just see a picture of a woman saying some stuff, right? And then he says the name is Jonathan Ingram in black and white on paper. Murda Mook's response is, my name is John Ingram. So this creates and the idea that Hitman might have been thinking about got the wrong dude. Whoever delivered Hitman the information probably gave him the wrong guy. Now, who knows if that's true or not? The problem is because of that one simple mistake, right? Whether it was Mook's manipulation or not, that one simple mistake probably took the steam out of the believability of Hitman's third round. On top of the fact that Hitman Holla is bouncing from allegation to allegation to allegation. All of a sudden he's saying Mook's child isn't biologically his. It's just all this different stuff where it's not really centered or structured. And even if it isn't true, let's say Hitman is telling the truth, but yeah, let's say he is telling the truth. Hitman's execution was terrible. So it doesn't even matter if it was true because you didn't deliver it in a compelling way. This is battle rap. Things are exaggerated. Things are taken out all the time, and then people go on about their day. You ain't see Murda Mook go out there and start suing niggas and doing all this weird shit that's happening in the music industry, because this is what happens in battle rap, and that's what you got to be prepared for. You feel what I'm saying? Murda Mook not responding or even flinching to these reactions further aided the fact that the narrative or the optics that Murda Mook was painting. You see what I'm saying? Murda Mook sitting still during that time was probably the most important part of the battle. He maintained the persona. He maintained the unbothered energy, and immediately this took steam out of Hitman's round. Because Hitman was hoping to get a reaction out of Mook, and it didn't work. And you want to know how I know he was hoping? Because he said, let's give you a fair trial. And tried to get Mook to say something. Mook didn't say nothing, and therefore it didn't work. You see what I'm saying? So, because of this, Hitman Holla just looks like he's throwing rocks at it. Like he's just throwing rocks, and nothing is just bouncing off of Mook. That's the optics. And then, think about it. This battle rap. You haven't seen nobody expand on these documents at all. Especially on Murda Mook. These documents should have been expanded on by now. Nobody's expanding on these damn documents. You telling me nobody did the research and posted it on social media? Nothing? All you see is some people saying, oh, you can get away with anything in battle rap. You know what would make that type of tweet more effective? If you posted the deep research that you did that point to the fact that Hitman Holla was telling the truth. The fact that D didn't do that, or nobody's doing that, nobody's gonna care. And Hitman Holla has done interviews since then. Why are you not expounding or putting the information that's in black and white on Front Street? It just makes it look, it just doesn't look good. It looks bad. Okay? Because of this, Mook turning around and getting back to just rapping better again, make that shit look so much worse than it was, bro. Especially when he flips the mother angle and says, how dare you when your mother had cancer and we cheered her on. We prayed for her to beat that, right? And then you turn around and disrespect Verb Mother, which in retrospect is crazy because the first line of the battle was to disrespect Mook's deceased mother. This was an absolute thorough dissection and ass whooping, bro. Like, I'm just being honest. I watched the battle again. This was a perfect, just ass whooping. And that don't mean that this takes away from Hitman at all. It doesn't. Hitman is still one of the greatest to ever do this. But Murda Mook whooped him, bro. He really whooped him. And there's so much stuff that goes into it. Even the extra points that I don't even got to make. Like the fact that he was just talking about relatability. Hitman Holla is rapping a lot from the perspective of things that are more admired than they are relatable. Murda Mook's stripped down version of his material and himself is allowing himself to be relatable to those who are in a certain crowd or listen to certain battle rap or came from a certain era. And that's what Hitman isn't understanding. Murda Mook outclassed him in that aspect. And I think Murda Mook knew from the jump that Hitman stood no chance. And to be honest, that was my perspective going into the battle, that Hitman really didn't stand no chance unless he stripped himself down, to the OG version of himself when he was coming into the game. Then it would have felt like a travel back into the past. And that would have gave Hitman more amplification on his bars. But because he didn't do that, he didn't understand the awareness of the situation, Murda Mook really wiped the floor with him, bro. And I don't really need to bring up bars and all that. I think that's a great dissection of this battle. That's exactly what it is. Once again, you going to be telling them better things that you got that's materialistic. And they going to tell you I had better lyrics when our materials listed. Is the perfect breakdown of this battle. You see what I'm saying? So that's my breakdown. Expect more. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not going to get up here and be biased because... Or say this and not say this because I don't have relationships with none of these guys. I don't value relationships in the battle rap industry more than I value my authentic opinion. So you can always come here to get real authentic opinions. You feel what I'm saying? Perspectives on these battles. And I think I'm going to break down the Calico and Rum Nitty too because that was an amazing battle that I really want to break down too. And yeah, bro, that's really what it is. Murda Mook. Gentlemen's, I really don't even want to say gentlemen's because he kind of sweeped them like from the face off to the battle. It was just a dissection. We ain't never really seen Hitman lose like this. This is the first time I've seen Hitman take this type of loss. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, but credit to Hitman because Hitman always show up and give 110%. He always ready to go. And that's respectable. And you gotta respect that. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, Murda Mook did what he was supposed to do. He was the underdog going into this battle. So him handling his business is exactly what he was supposed to do. Okay. But like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here. I battle rap too. I feel like some of y'all know this. Some people been asking me when's my next battle. I'm not really sure. I ain't battled in a little minute. I just feel like, I mean, I don't know. I'll probably battle before the year's over or the top of next year or something. But I just ain't really been super interested. But yeah. Appreciate y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Expect more battle rap content because it is a part of the hip hop spectrum. And expect the breakdowns to be like this. You feel what I'm saying? I'm going to catch y'all.